Welcome back to the Us versus Them channel. I'm your host Vince, and we're going to break down the next fight for the upcoming UFC 321 card. We got Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. This is another kind of close to a pick'em fight. We got Volkov sitting at about a plus 168 slight underdog, and then we got Almeida on the other side at minus 210. Before we get into this breakdown, if I can just remind you guys to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, get some of the best breakdowns that are available for you guys on YouTube. And we appreciate you guys for taking time to watch, so thanks. We have seen in the past where Volkov's takedown defense can kind of be the Achilles heel for him, or something that lets him down in fights. We saw that in the Curtis Blades fight. That fight was a long time ago, though. What was that? Somewhere back in 2020 or something like that. But Blades was able to land takedowns, secure top control, and just kind of control Volkov and coast his way to a really comfortable and easy decision win. So we have just seen his grappling and his takedown defense in general being something that lets him down. And that's also really concerning going into a fight against somebody like Jailton Almeida, who has some of the best double legs in the division and has some of the best top pressure and just overall control and jiu-jitsu of everybody in the division. With that being said, though, we have seen Volkov make a lot of good improvements in his takedown defense. He got kind of ragdolled a little bit by Curtis Blades, and he kind of took that fight a little bit personal, and then all of a sudden he just bulked up. And we just see a new version of Volkov that has looked really kind of almost unstoppable. You know, this version of Volkov, kind of is undefeated if you can look at past the point that he got 100% robbed in the Surreal Gone fight. So this version of Volkov, I do think, is going to be a lot harder to take down and hold down than the one that fought Curtis Blades 5 years ago. There are a couple big factors for this fight on Jailton Almeida's side that have been, I don't know if maybe unproven is the best word, but there's a couple factors here that are worth 100% noting for sure. The first one is his cardio. We saw in his most recent fight against Sergey Spivak where he was able to secure a very late round one submission. But we saw that fight kind of where he's flipping back and forth. Spivak is a decent grappler as well, so he was able to defend some of his shit, and they're just kind of finding themselves into scrambles. And it's the most resistance that we've seen for Jailton Almeida so far, in the scrambling aspect, outside of just getting elbow bomb from Curtis Blades and getting knocked out there. But at the end of all those scrambles, he did find his way on top, find the back and get a submission. But on the way there, a lot of scrambles, and he was really, really tired towards the end of that round, towards the end of that fight. So it makes you kind of wonder, is his cardio where it needs to be? He's used to getting guys out of there in the first round. So if this fight escapes the first round and goes in the second round, is he going to have what it takes to win rounds 2 and 3 if he has to? Another big factor, X factor for Jailton Almeida, is his chin. We've seen him in the Curtis Blades fight. Like I said, he got elbow bombed to oblivion and knocked out while he's kind of going in for a takedown. But before that, we saw him get clipped with a hook as he's on his way in. Curtis Blades clipped him with a hook and kind of wobbled him, and that's what initiated the urgent panic wrestling that we saw. And then the onslaught of elbows, and that was the end of the fight. So, kind of makes me wonder, is his chin where it needs to be too? And going into a fight with Volkov, that's definitely a big concern. So both of these guys have shown in the past where they can kind of both exploit each other. I think Volkov stands a really good chance to win this fight if he survives the early onslaught of the wrestling and just trying to find the submissions that Almeida will be looking for early on in the fight. But as the fight starts to get on later in the fight, I think he's going to find more success in the takedown defense if he doesn't already find that early on in the first round, or early in the fight or whatever. But like I said, as the fight goes on later, I think Almeida's, at least the question mark on his cardio is going to be answered. But Volkov has shown, time and time again, we've seen him in 5-round fights, we've seen him go to decision. He has cardio that will last. So the longer this fight goes on, the less effective the wrestling and the grappling is going to be for Almeida. Not only that, but we kind of also saw in the Derek Lewis fight that Almeida's jiu-jitsu maybe isn't nearly as dangerous as we thought it is, as long as you keep him off your back. So if you keep your back firmly to the ground, use the cage to kind of slide up, you can kind of work up to your feet. Derek Lewis, he survived the entirety of the fight, went the full distance, and that's just because he just didn't let Almeida on his back. For my official prediction, I'm leaning towards Volkov to get this one done. I think the underdog is going to get, he's got the advantage. Like I said, in the cardio, I think he's got the advantage as far as just having a lot more fights and a lot more experience. He's got longer rangier weapons, so as the fight gets to the last half of the fight, he's going to be able to throw those body kicks and those attacks to the body. That's just going to further damage the cardio of Almeida. So I think he's going to lean on that experience, and we're going to see him, lean on those weapons, those longer range weapons later in the fight. So I think Volkov's going to get this one done. I've been going back and forth whether he gets a late, second round, third round knockout or a decision. But for my official prediction, I'm just going to stay steady and true with Volkov get this one done by finish. So give me Volkov by knockout. That's all I got for you guys in this breakdown. Stop by for the next one. We got Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. Again, another great opportunity to make some money. So stop by for that one. And stop by for our parlay videos that we're going to get out to you guys as soon as we can. So that's all I got for you guys right now. And I'm done talking, so I'm the fuck out of here.